Good evening. I call this public meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors to order on Thursday, October 9th at 6:31 p.m. There are no community comments signed up this evening, so we won't be having them. Bear with me, it's been 11 years since I've done this, so. As we begin the meeting tonight, I would like to acknowledge the recent passing of State Superintendent Wah Win, who represented a portion of our school district. Representative Win was a former school board member who served on the David Douglas School Board and worked as a student and community engagement specialist at Clackamas Education Service District. In Salem, she championed school funding, childcare access, and housing solutions. She was a powerful advocate for students and families. On behalf of our school board and nearly 17,000 students we serve, we extend our deepest condolences to her family and honor her legacy of service to our community. And with that, we'll begin with our native land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge the land on which we sit, in which we call the North Clackamas School District, rest on the traditional and indigenous lands and village sites of the native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Molalla, and the Clackamas.
We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn
and work and be a community on this land.
And we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region.
We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation
that affected the indigenous and native families, both past and present,
and that will affect those in the future.
And honor the resilience and revitalization of our indigenous and native communities.
Pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
All right, board members, please stand. Director Olson, will you lead the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, in the board packet, you will find the consent agenda for this evening's meeting. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes employment changes, minutes from the September 2025 meeting, and policy revisions.
Is there a second? All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. I call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And all those opposed say no. Motion passes, 5-0. All right. Next on the agenda is the North Clackamas Education Association's featured educator. I welcome NCEA representatives Blake Aller Murphy. Did I say that right? And Danielle Heinlein. Welcome. If I got the names wrong, feel free to correct me. I'd like to. Okay. All right.
It's our honor to introduce NCEA's Educator of the Month, Lisa Baker, school psychologist. Lisa had multiple nominations from multiple schools, and that is a testament to her impact and her lasting impact to the schools that she has serviced. I have known Lisa in many different roles, and coming back to North Clackamas, one of my reasons was to work specifically with Lisa Baker. I knew that I would, as a learning specialist who works in special programs, we have to have a very large support system. And I knew that I'd be in the best of hands with Lisa Baker. Lisa collaborates with her learning specialists very thoroughly and creates relationships not only with students, but also with staff, helping make us more effective in the work that we do every day. Without Lisa's support, our special programs and special education would not be the same. She often brings expertise and new initiatives to our programs.
Thank you. That's it from us.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
I wonder where you were, but
Hiding in the back. I'm not sure I've heard my first and last name said together that many times in a while. Because I usually just go by Lisa or sometimes Miss Baker. And I am so grateful to be sitting here tonight. I can't tell you how touched I am to have been nominated by my peers as a featured educator. I hold my colleagues, both past and present, in such high regard. That said, my immediate reaction to this was, oh no. My work is largely invisible unless something isn't going well. I consider my role to be kind of like a harmony or a counter melody. You notice it most if it's missing or there's a really wrong note, but it's not what folks are specifically listening for. That's okay. I really prefer it that way, but it does make me very grateful to feel seen. This is my sixth year as a school psychologist, and if you'll indulge me, I would love to talk through a change that was made a few years ago that radically impacted my ability to meet the needs of students, my team, and just generally allowed me to elevate my school psychology practice. When I started in the district, I was assigned to two buildings, a middle and an elementary schools, putting me at a ratio of like 1 to 1,200 kids. It was also during the pandemic, but that's a whole different story, right? I was bopping between these two different buildings, trying to collaborate with 9 different learning specialists. And I felt like I was never where I was needed. Something had just happened right after I left, right? And I had just come out of graduate school where I was trained in these like 10 domains of practice set forth by the National Association of School Psychologists with this recommended ratio of 1 to 500 students. And I learned so quickly why that recommended ratio was 1 to 500. I felt like all I was doing was trying to maintain compliance and respond to crises. I had so many ideas of what I wanted to be doing, and I felt really stuck. And then in the third year, the district made a change, resulting in me being placed full-time at my middle school, where I had been for the 2 previous years. Oh, I've been able to be in one building since that time, and it has been absolutely game-changing in how I'm able to support my students and support teams. I am better able to understand and integrate into building culture. I'm able to spend so much more time partnering with learning specialists to support our students more effectively. Our teachers hold so much knowledge and so much expertise. And the times I've been able to sit down with them and collaborate on a solution, our diverse team members with our unique skill sets and different lenses through which to view a problem, it's helped us yield these like really effective and creative solutions because we're there more to work together and support kids. And my capacity for success is interdependent with that of my colleagues, absolutely. And I am so grateful to the people I've had the opportunity to learn and work from. I'm grateful to the administrators that I've had who've taught me how to like hold tension between two really different and difficult ideas. And I'm super grateful to the kids that I get to see in my one and only building for really reminding me why I love my job. So thank you.
thank you. Any any comments, discussion? Well, again, thank you so much for what you do, and I'm glad we were able to find the funding to keep you in one building. And I know we would have liked to the first 2 years, but it finally can happen. So
Yeah, and I just wanted to highlight how wonderful that's been, and that's for us at the secondary level in general.
for sure, thank you.
So, thank you.
Okay, board reports. We can start with Director Kemp.
I've been on traveling for the last 2 months, so I don't have anything to report, but now that I'll be home and working here in the state, I'll have more to report at the next meeting.
Director Olson.
On September 30, I think it was, I attended the OSBA regional meeting and had a great opportunity to hear updates, meet board members from across the region, do my public meeting annual training or whatever, however often it's required. And got out to the Rex Putnam football game last Friday. Well, it was not the outcome of the game that we wanted to see. It was so great to see the kids come together in community for a pink out. The dance team looked great. Go Royal Crowns. The pep band sounded just so much energy. I can't believe how good they sound this early in the year. So it was just joyful to be among the Kingsman.
Director Wachter.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The last couple of Thursdays, I've been actually here and participating in the superintendent's bond committee. And it's been very interesting. This is my first time through that experience, and I've really learned a lot about bonds and the necessity of having them to support the facilities across our school district. It's been actually really also interesting to engage with other members of the community. Police officers, teachers, administrators, architects, just general parents and students from across our district who all are really thoughtful around having, may I say, world-class facilities for our students and educators. So it's been great to be part of that. There's a couple more meetings coming up, and I'm learning a lot along the way, and look forward to bringing back some of that to share with the board as well.
Thank you. Director Tamtering.
I have also attended those bond advisory committees, and been really, really great seeing the community come out and see what everybody's interested in. AC is a big topic for facilities, so it'll be interesting to see. It's nice because we get to switch tables and be with different parts of the community every time. I also have been attending the North Clackamas Education Foundation board meetings, and I'm excited to see how we can continue to support the school district. And then I went to my own kiddos back to school night at Alder Creek, which was really fun. I got to see a lot of the teachers, many of the teachers who've been there for a lot of years. And so it was really, really awesome to see that, and all the parents who were there extra early. I think we were there half an hour early trying to get ready, and there was the parking lot was full. So there's a lot of people out there who want to be involved in the school. So that's exciting to see.
No update on the benefits committee. Director Kemp and I were on that last meeting. It's business as usual, but I did attend the Nelson Central Catholic volleyball game last night at Central Catholic. I don't know if anyone has seen Nelson play volleyball this year, but they are good. I think 4 of their starters are D1 commits. And they were down 0-2 against Central Catholic and came back and won the last 3 games. So yeah, go Hawks. All right, next on the agenda is the 25-26 class size report, and I welcome Superintendent of Education, Yvonne Dibley, who will introduce our guests.
Sure. Right, good evening, directors. We are here with our annual report, and I'm here with Dr. Patricia Ahrens, with elementary programs, Dr. Petra Callan with secondary programs, Tammy O'Neill, the Executive Director of Teaching, Learning and Professional Development, and we will also be available to answer questions after our report. As I said, this is our annual report. We always come to you in October, and this actually, as you know, every month we take note of our enrollment. And at the October 1st enrollment count, we were at 16,962 students, which we keep at our heart, especially when we're thinking about teaching in varied and responsive needs for each one of those 16,962 students. The work that our teachers do each and every day for each and every one of them is near and dear to our hearts, and it's what drives us each and every day to the work that we are doing. In the springtime, One of my responsibilities is to provide the allocations to our schools. And allocations are done in a way that we work with Flow Analytics. Flow Analytics provides projections for our enrollment. And their total projected enrollment was 17,134 students. So we're just a little bit under their projection for the year. We are proud to know that the allocation has pretty much been kept steady at 25 at elementary, 29 at middle, and 32 at high school. 29 is bolded because that is one higher than last year. We've been at 28 every year. But in order to keep it at 28, we would have had to increase so many staff members that it was just an impossibility to us. So to give you a little bit of information in regards to the enrollment and the staffing decisions around that, elementary was down in projection about 70 students. And so we wanted to make sure that we kept the ratio at 25 because that solidified the opportunity for students that were receiving special education services to be provided support in least restrictive environments in their classroom settings with their classroom peers. And so this allows for students to not only receive their special education services in their outside settings, but also to collaborate, to learn, and be in their classroom settings with their peers. At middle school, enrollment did go up by about 100, and middle is where we know that there is a lot of need, right? And so, as I said, it was really hard for us to look at how can we keep the ratio at 28. So we actually made some other investments where we have instructional coaches at our middle school level, and we've also been providing some outside services that we've had in years past, such as campus monitors and restorative justice coordinators. And this supports the overall well-being of the school community. So while it is not directly in the classroom, it is supporting overall needs of the different developmental needs of our middle school students. And lastly, our high school enrollment was up by about 85 students. The projection was up by about 85 students. And some of the adjustment that we did at high school was that we actually added an FTE at Sabin-Schellenberg Center. And as you know, Principal Huja does a phenomenal job of advocating. He looks at his data. He looks to see who's taking classes, who's not taking classes. He's very attuned to who is accessing those classes. And based on those adjustments, he has absolutely made an impact in which I'll give you additional data in just a second for that. So with the allocation adjustments, you will see that these allocations were due to either decrease in student counts, we right-sized certain situations, and we also shifted due to DLI, dual language immersion. And additionally, we had some increases where, for example, at one of our high schools, we added a counselor because they were just getting high into their enrollment. And so we adjusted the formula at the high school. And we obviously increased where there was an increase in student enrollment, and we decreased where student enrollment decreased. In regards to adjustments, you will see that these adjustments were made. And these adjustments were made where middle school were added instructional coaching. As I mentioned, at Adrian Nelson, we added a counselor. At Sabin, I just shared how Principal Huja looks at the various needs of the school. We added a strand in cosmetology with the barbering class. We have a fire science program there now. And due to his focus, we have added 400. There's been an increase of 11%. So 407 more students have had their access to classes at Saban. And we have had an increase of 4% of our seats filled. So just adding that additional FTE in the shifts that he has made has really made an impact. And again, right sizing formulas at classified, we have a new dashboard that we work with for our staffing formulas. And so we were able to look at our formulas and how we are allocating our classified personnel and our paraprofessional FTE at each of our sites. So those are the adjustments that we have made up till now.
Good evening, thank you. At the elementary level, the average class size for this school year is 24.9. And with the lowest class in the district with 14 students and the highest at 34 students in the class. This is not including students in specialized programs. As you can see in your packet, you might see a different number, and this is due to a new reconfiguration that we had to do at one of our schools where classes were getting big. So we worked with the school principal and the school team to make classes more balanced. So those numbers may differ a little bit than what you have in your packet. So we have 172 classes with students at or below 25 students in the classroom. Nobody is above 35 students in the classroom. And also we had 14 blended classrooms as part of that readjustment and making things more balanced in the school. As you can see, that's the average classes by grade band. In kindergarten, 22.4, first through third grade in 24, and fourth and fifth grade, 26.5. We have a total of 15 blended classrooms, 2 and third, fourth, 2 in 2 and 3, and 3 blended classrooms in first and second grade, and 8 blended classrooms in fourth, fifth grade. Also, due to trying to keep up those numbers, lower, we had to enter into the process of overflowing 2 students, siblings in second grade and fifth grade, and this overflow was happening at our Nelson feeder as a, known. A lot of students wanting to be part of that feeder system, so we had to overflow 2 students this year. That's for elementary. You want to do it? Yeah. The clicker.
I have 2 microphones. Whoops. Uh-oh. I do this every time.
It's always fun.
Yeah, I'd like to keep everyone on their toes. All right, I'm here to talk about our secondary programs, and for our middle schools, you will see that over the years, we've had some changes in our average class size, but in the last 4 years, they've remained pretty close. This year, we're at an average of 28.2, which is a little bit below our how we staffed our middle schools this year. This is an average of our core class sizes, which refers to language arts, social studies, math, and science. Something important to know about middle school core classes is that they all tend to be pretty similar in what those class sizes are. There are not wild swings because all the students are pretty much taking the same thing. For our high schools, We are not dissimilar than we were last year. We're at 28, which remains below the staffing allocation. And this is also an average that is of our core classes, language arts, social studies, science, and math. In high school, there's a lot more of a range in particular sizes because we do have differences in what kids are taking. They are often due to singletons, for example, advanced placement courses, international baccalaureate, core ELD, or sometimes in our core, we have different subject areas sort of within like science, for example. And there are some differences in what students can take in a different grade band. So that kind of changes that up a little bit.
I think that one of the things that we look at is that, go back, sorry.
What?
Right there.
Oh, sorry.
That class size is important, but the community and the climate that we create in a school with all of the adults that serve the children in the community is just as important. And so we have brought this information forward in this report because it's pretty impactful to see what the staff to student ratio is in every single one of our in our buildings by the grade band, right? And last year we looked at pre-pandemic, so 18-19 in comparison to the 24-25 school year. And then we looked at 25-26. So our enrollment has been pretty flat in regards. We're still on an upward trajectory. We're still getting students, which is great. We don't have a huge blip in regards to gaining students. However, we continue to make investments on how to support students with mental health, with instructional coaching, with our paraprofessionals, with so many individuals in the school community that support our students. So this really encompasses all of the staff to the student ratio, which is pretty dynamic when you look at the entire school community.
Yeah, that was the one I was looking for. So just to go a little deeper on that piece, as you all know, educating children is incredibly complex, right? And so we are so lucky to be able to provide resources that either alleviate some of the workload of our teachers or add to the capacity of the whole system to really address the individual needs of our students. So for example, we send a whole team into every kindergarten class to conduct the assessments of our kindergartners. Two things on that. That means that our students get to spend more time with their teachers as the assessments are ongoing, and it allows the teachers to really focus on getting to know the kids at these really critical times. We also have added resources to ensure every school has school leadership teams. I call it getting the big brains together to just get their best ideas forward from their expertise, getting in there and digging in to the data and what it's showing in regards to the needs, both systemically and individually. Additionally, we know research is very clear that teachers stay with us longer and are satisfied with their jobs when they have professional learning and they have the resources they need to do what they chose to do with their life and to be good at it. And our behavior team, for example, not only provides the expertise in the classroom to support the students, but their job really is to build the expertise of the staff that are already in the building. Again, super complex. We're very lucky to have this team of highly skilled individuals supporting teachers in the classroom. And that includes our instructional coaches as well. So we've really been able to invest in these endeavor in our school district, and it's making a difference, right? So we dig into lessons, look at our data, just really utilize those feedback instructional loops just to improve our practices all the time. So just that great teamwork that is showing up across our schools.
And with that, we'll take any questions.
Any questions?
First of all, thank you for this presentation. I know it's difficult because students do not show up in beautiful multiples of 25 to a building. And so it's a big chess game, and I appreciate the insights that you shared. I'm curious about the blended grade classrooms and if we are seeing those in a pattern, in like a feeder pattern more so, or is it just kind of those peaks and valleys that are just happen?
Yes, the short answer is yes. We are seeing an increase mostly in the Nelson feeder pattern, and that is where initially when we start the enrollment process, we can find, kindergarten classes or, 29 or 28 students in a kindergarten classroom. And that's when principals and their teams start to puzzling, okay, what are we going to do if we have more kids showing up school? And then we have our bubbles, kindergarten, fourth grade, especially this year, we see a lot of fourth graders coming into fifth grade as well. So that is where most of our blended classrooms happened. Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate not seeing a K1 blend.
Yes.
Those are rough. I had one more little question about the assessment team. Is that just for the beginning of year, just for the fall benchmarking?
No, we'll do it as well for the winter.
Okay, and then teachers do their own in spring? Okay, thank you.
Director Olson, we don't allow blending at kinder, just so you know, too.
Oh,
So
good.
and just so that everybody knows, blending, we use the word blending, but it does not mean that we blend two grade levels. You still have the standards at each grade level. So the teacher is actually teaching the standards for both grade levels, which is incredibly difficult.
Very, yeah.
Really great. Thank you so much for the presentation. I love the year over year over year data showing some trends, and I think the slide I love the best is the one that has the adults to students in the building. That is really powerful because there really are so many licensed and non-licensed staff that really add so much value to that educational experience. So I may have missed it. I have just a couple questions, but I may have missed the projection was down by 150 from what we were thinking, but overall, is it up also from previous year? I must have missed that part of your comment, Yvonne.
It's up in certain levels and lower in others.
Net though, like
Net we're down.
overall?
So net we're 16,962.
Yeah.
And the projection was 17,134.
So from the previous year, are we down net in all levels? Like adding all those together, are we down for the total enrollment, or the same, or more?
I can step in there.
Thank
In
you.
fact, I have a meeting on this exact topic tomorrow, so it may be helpful to get you some information after that. Yes, it looks like our October 1 actual last year to our October 1 actual this year is down slightly.
Oh,
But
okay.
we're working on that data. We just want to make sure we have that clean. So
I appreciate that. I'm envisioning a presentation from last year, I think, where we were seeing that post-COVID curve and the enrollment increasing. I'm like, where are we now? Are we up or down? So maybe a little more
It's-
detail on that.
it's very close. I think
Yeah.
we're in a close range, but
Okay.
we're working on that. And I think next week we also have a follow-up team looking at that.
Okay.
So we'll get more info.
One other thing, I was not for this presentation, maybe for a future request, is just to understand how special programs staffing has changed over time too. I love seeing the different levels and the school detail as well that you've provided, but I noted that there was a 1/10 of a FTE added to special education classrooms, and I'm wondering, over time, is that improving, changing in any direction that we could learn more about? So that would be really helpful.
We'd love to.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have one. Okay, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I forgot to note the changes at the elementary, middle, and high school. I was just making some notes and I couldn't remember those numbers.
Changes as in the projections or changes as in
The projections.
the projections? So elementary, the projections was that elementary was going to be down by 70 students. Middle was going to be up by 100. And high school was going to be up by 85.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation.
Mine's curiosity, no personal bias here on blended classrooms. Is it the grade team? Is it the administration, the building that decides that if a blended classroom that the teacher's going to teach all subjects, or they're going to tag team with another teacher? Who makes that call? Or do we have a standard here that the teacher's going to teach all subjects? We're not going to have someone come in and teach math, and how does it work?
I'm just thinking we have a little bit of both. So there are some schools and, okay, I'm just trying to, how do I frame it to give you the context? So some schools, general education teachers teach language arts, math, and they co-teach ELD with another teacher. So that is kind of the standard. However, some schools, and especially this last year and this year, some schools, in order to support teachers and, with blended classrooms, some schools are opting out for specializing. That means that at a grade level, just to give you an example, we have a straight fourth grade, blended classroom 4-5, and then a straight fifth grade. Those teachers, with the support of teaching and learning and district coaches, instructional coaches, those teachers opt in to specialize. So one of those teachers, depending on the number of students in fourth grade or fifth grade, some of those teachers will teach only math to all the fourth graders, and then other teacher will teach English language arts to the fifth graders. So in order to help teachers to plan, to collaborate, and so that is kind of it's like a mix of different options depending on the skills of the needs for the teachers, for the students, depending on student data, depending on teacher skills. We work with the school and the principals, and teachers definitely have a voice into trying that opportunity as well.
I guess I do have a personal bias, and that's that we don't have a one size fits all, because that's not what we're about. So I like that we're flexible and we make it work. So thanks. Oh,
I do have just one question. Because looking at this data, do you find that this is the same in the DLI programs? Because I know they probably start out with a certain number of students, and then students start to drop off, and obviously only certain students can join in if you're in fifth grade already and you've learned to this point. Are you finding that the classroom sizes stay the same for that program as well?
For all of our 3 DLI schools on the Spanish strand, the classes average is stay the same. Where the difference goes into the English strand, that is when either classes are very low because the school has 2 Spanish strands and only 1 English, or vice versa. So for DLI it varies depending on which number of strands you have in which target language.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Dibley gets to stay. Next on the agenda is the 2025 Summer Learning Report. Welcome at the table again is Dr. Dibley, who will introduce our guests.
All right, thank you again. I'm happy to be here with Natalie Whistler, Director of Community Service, who is here with me to bring you our summer learning report.
Excellent. Good evening. I'm always excited to come and talk about summer learning. Right. Each summer, we aim to offer a robust selection of engaging summer learning programs. We work to offer programs that are accessible, equitable, diverse, and inclusive. We look for programs that focus on student strengths and offer project-based, hands-on collaborative learning opportunities. We work for our programs to be relationship and student-centered. And overall, we're looking to offer programs that students want to attend during the summertime. Okay. While summer learning takes place about 2.5 months of the year, the planning for summer learning is absolutely a year-round process. One of the challenges that we've faced is the unpredictability of summer learning funding. Over the past 5 years, it has been a highly unpredictable landscape with funding offered from the state in 2021, 2022, nothing in 2023. 2024, we were on a wait list for funding, and that left us in a place where it was very hard to know what to predict for 2025. We've developed a process in response where we basically develop Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C based on multiple funding contingencies. So we had our first district summer planning meeting last December, and a lot of work goes into summer learning programs in January and February. And by March, we finalized our funded programs and posted jobs for those programs. Staffing for summer programs can be a challenge, and so it's incredibly important that we have those jobs posted and available if we want to have them filled and ready for our students. Then, at the end of April in 2025, House Bill 27 established summer learning grant funding. And shortly after that, we learned that we were on a wait list for funding again. About a week after that, we were invited to apply for those waitlist funds. Other districts had to make the hard decision to turn down funding due to the extremely short time frame, which left us now eligible for funds. Which was exciting, but again, a very short timeline in turnaround. So we submitted our grant application on May 12th, and off we went, launching programs on June 23rd. So you can see how quickly that process went with grant funding. We were awarded $1 million in grant funds this summer, and those grant funds came with some new program criteria. We needed to focus programs on literacy and credit recovery with focus on students not yet reading at grade level. And another new criteria for that grant funding was a threshold for hours of programming. In order to be funded, a program had to offer 80 continuous hours of programming per cohort, 30 hours of continuous programming for kindergarten transition programs. That left us in a place where we weren't able to fund our kindergarten transition program. We had already hired teachers and made plans for that program and not at the required threshold. In the end, we were able to use those funds to cover our high school summer school program. We were able to offer a program for our rising sixth graders that we would not have been able to offer without grant funding. In fact, that was taken off of our program plans and then put right back on once funding became available. And so there was a very very intense drive to get that program back on the agenda and up and running within the summer. We were able to offer scholarships and increase literacy support in our district care program. We were also able to fund a student internship program and vital services for summer programming, such as nursing and mental health supports. We were also able to use the funds to purchase adaptive curriculum software that was used across multiple programs to support literacy. High School Summer School, which was funded by our grant, served 674 students this year. Those students earned 736 full credits. We also had 26 students attend our senior session and 23 students completed our senior session. Were eligible to graduate on time with their peers. Overall, 64% of high school students moved from not on track to graduate in 4 years to on track to graduate after attending summer school, which is a wonderful accomplishment. Our high school student work study is one of my favorite programs. I could talk about this all evening, and I promise that I won't. But this is a program we were able to start with grant funds in 2021. And we are able to employ our high school students to work in our summer learning programs across the district. This year, we had 31 students participate in this program. We were also able to offer a new pilot program with technology and information services, where 2 students were able to work on technology projects over the summer and grow in their career and technical education skills. Our students earn a paycheck from this program, and they also earn credit. I recently found out that one of our students from the first cohort of this program in 2021 is currently student teaching at Linwood Elementary. I am very excited for the moment when we get to hire our first teacher from this program. Right. Our Rising 6th Grade Summer Program focused on that vital transition from 5th to 6th grade. We offered students a 4-week-long program with a morning focused on academics and an afternoon focused on enrichment. We worked with a number of community partners for those enrichment programs. And I have to tell you, this program was full of joy. Students were so excited to be there at school over the summer. Invite you to come out next year if you'd like to renew your faith in middle school students and see a lot of fun. At the bottom of this slide, you'll see a photo there of a student skit that was offered on their final day of programming. Those students work with Chapel Theater to write their own short skits. And those students wrote a skit where students reenacted TikTok videos. And then a student acting as the assistant principal came and used a very large paper yonder pouch to cover the TikTok videos. And so our students entered middle school fully knowing the expectations for technology in the classroom. I'd also like to read an excerpt from a parent letter for the middle school program. This letter is just beautiful, and I think it really captures what we were hoping to accomplish. So, we signed up on a whim, knowing my daughter has some lagging skills and a need for additional support with executive functioning and the transition to middle school. I initially thought she'd push back on the idea of summer school, but she got a group of girlfriends to join her and they set off excited. Thanks to your staff, the girls came back on the first day saying the summer program was the best and they couldn't wait to go back. Your teachers made the content fun while also supporting growth. One day, my daughter fretted that she'd forgotten how to reduce fractions, but her math teacher stayed longer and helped her build confidence. Our summer care program served 496 elementary students at 3 locations this summer. And this program, which is traditionally supported by parent fees, was able to offer scholarships to 85 students to gain additional literacy supports at the care program. And this program was able to increase the total number of students served this year. You'll see a few features from the program, including a squid dissection led by OMSI. Elementary Title I summer school served 130 students from all 8 Title I elementary schools. They were also able to offer an extended day program featuring STEM activities in conjunction with the Clackamas ESD. Our students at Title I summer school demonstrated growth in literacy benchmarks at each grade level this year. Our extended school year program served 76 students this summer. This program's focused on skill maintenance, learning recovery for our students who are served with IEPs. This year, 100% of students in this program maintain skills identified on their IEP and ESY goals. Kindergarten exploration is definitely a special time. It's when we get to welcome our incoming kindergartners into the building for the first time and support that vital transition to kindergarten. We were able to increase the number of students served this year, reaching 578 students. All of our elementary schools hosted kindergarten exploration classrooms this year. A new element of this program included partnering with our behavior team, adding learning specialists on staff for kindergarten exploration, and also issuing a neurodiversity kit to every kindergarten exploration classroom so that we were able to increase the supports for our incoming students. We couldn't do summer without our community partnerships. And we worked with many nonprofits, small businesses, and local agencies to make summer special for our students. OMSI, Clackamas Women's Services, Letting Library, all provided special experiences, staffing, enrichment opportunities, and more to keep our students engaged and broaden their horizons. We know that our schools serve as a vital link for students in meeting their basic needs, and that's a very important element of summer programs. This year, we served 18,411 meals to students in our summer programs. We were able to offer dental health screenings at Wichita in conjunction with Neighborhood Health Center. And we also used some of the grant funds to partner with Stronger Oregon so that we were able to have mental health therapists at our buildings focused on prevention services. They were able to run small skills-based groups, do in-class presentations, provide staff coaching and family coaching. And along with that, we were able to refer students for therapy and crisis services. Okay. Right. So what's next in our summer learning cycle? Right now, we're working on wrap up and final reporting for last summer. Oregon Department of Education released the reporting form a couple weeks ago. So we are now working on gathering all the data requested. And then we will initiate our planning for 2026.
And as Natalie and I prepared for this presentation, usually this is one that is a highlight for us. It's one that's bright and energetic, and it's really a positive one that we bring to you all. But it really was one that, as we thought about what we were going to say, we really sat with a heavy heart because we cannot underscore the possibility that summer school may not happen next year. And this is due to the possibility of federal funding and the decreases in federal funding. We usually have carryover funding that when we carry over that funding in Title I, that is what we utilize to fund our Title I summer school. When we have worked with ODE to get the funding for summer school grants, we were very excited to have the possibility of maybe planning a 3 or 5 year plan, right? And actually being ahead and not having to think about scenarios, but actually having a plan for a summer program. And we're disappointed to know that we had to utilize this year as a baseline, and knowing that we were on a wait list, that quite possibly the districts that were ahead of us are going to, obviously have that opportunity. And so we are really kind of wrestling for those funds. And it's a great possibility that we might not have the opportunity to have those funds next year. So there's a lot of uncertainty. And when we receive the funds through the pandemic time, and as Natalie has shared, the inconsistencies of when we have received funds and when we haven't, yet our community has expected these services, and we bring these services knowing the gifts that this brings for our students, right? They're being served academically. There's mental health supports, there's enrichment supports, there's care, and they're being taken care of when their parents are at work. And it's very hard to think about the fact that we might have a possibility of not having this in our future. So we just wanted to be transparent, like celebrate the wins that we've had, but also being transparent with this reality that we're facing. We're going to bring any information to you as we get more information from the Oregon Department of Education. But it's a little bit trepidatious because, as we've said, we've not even yet finished the cycle for this year, and we were supposed to already receive the information for next year. So it's been a little bit of a trying time.
All right, any questions? I just have one I'm kind of afraid to ask because it might be such great news, but is it too early to tell that almost 100% increase in kindergarten readiness? What are those teachers saying about, first week, first month of those kindergartners that attended?
I think we'll have some data on that in the next few weeks. We're pulling our beginning of the year assessments now, and we'll be able to do some comparisons, and we'll also be able to get some narrative from our teachers, and that will be exciting.
Yeah, I'm probably more looking at narrative, not data, like well behaved or better behaved or knew how to go to the restroom by themselves, that sort of thing, weren't lost, less tears, that sort of thing.
Director, I will say that Dr. James and I were visiting classrooms the other day, and in the classrooms, one of the neurodiversity kids, one of the kiddos was holding one of the weighted animals. And one of the things that we did with those is that we really wanted to normalize the use of those kids as a universal support for everyone. It was not that just because you need it, that this is what you're going to use, but that it was something, it's a tool, it's a support that everybody in the class needs. So it was nice to see that, it was something that we started during kinder exploration. It's something that we were starting to see as we visited the classrooms.
All right. Thank you so much. Crossing our fingers and our toes. Next on the agenda is the Division 22 report. I welcome Chief of Staff Tiffany Shireman.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here tonight. I am bringing forward an annual report, not seeking any action on this. It's just a report. So the school district is required to report to the school board and the community as a whole in a public board meeting on the compliance each year for the prior school year for the public elementary and secondary standards in the state. These are the Oregon administrative rules that govern many of the practices in our schools. The Division 22 standards include approximately 60 individual rules, and those can be broken down into 5 large buckets: high quality learning experiences, aligned and focused educational systems, engaged partners and communication or communities, safe and inclusive schools, and then, of course, committed and supported staff. And you'll see there some of the rule examples floating out from each of those buckets to know a little bit of what's the flavor of the kinds of things in those standards. So over the past 8 weeks, the North Clackamas executive team has reviewed the requirements for compliance for last school year. Of course, this November, we're reporting on last school year, and that happens each October. We make the public report to you, and then you'll see that there's a timeline there for the reporting to the Oregon Department of Ed. Our team believes that North Clackamas was in compliance with all of the required standards, with the exception of the 2 listed on your slide there. The first was OAR 581022 2263. So it's those last 4 digits that we're pretty attentive to. And that 2263 was the physical education requirements specifically related to middle school for us. We spoke last fall with you about this, and the district has since achieved compliance. So as of the first day of the school year, we are in compliance with the middle school physical education requirements, though still need to report non-compliance for last year, even though we were working under an ODE approved plan. As of, like I said, as of the first day of the current school year, the district is in compliance. In particular, the district has achieved compliance with middle school PE minute requirements through a new instructional delivery model at the middle school, where we have multi-endorsed teachers teaching integrated PE in a wellness class kind of fashion. So now it's a wellness class as opposed to discrete other classes. This is something that we've worked on over the course of all of last year. The second is OAR 581022 2045, Substance Use Prevention and Intervention Plan. And this one, we are reporting non-compliance on, though I want to be really clear that staff is confident that all of the educational requirements are in place. So students, for instance, are receiving the required instruction on preventing tobacco, alcohol, other drug use. Routinely, that is all in the educational program. However, there's a requirement for a written plan. So all of that needs to be together with policy and professional development. It all needs to be boiled down to a written plan and brought before the board for your review. And that's what we need to do this year. So we're reporting non-compliance last year because we didn't have it reduced down to a single plan. We will put that together. We'll make sure that you have that. There's an interdisciplinary team working on that to make sure that it hits all of the required corners of the written plan. And you can watch for that this school year, and we'll have that in place before next school year. So following my report to you, then next we will post on the web a report basically synthesizing what I shared with you. And then that will be submitted to the Oregon Department of Ed by the middle of November. That's what I have for you in your annual Division 22 report.
Riveting. Thank you. Well, if you saw the physical education, I mean, it was impossible with our block schedule, what they wanted us to do. But we made it work, or you made it work. Any questions?
A large team made it work.
In the large team that, yeah. Any questions for Tiffany? No?
Definitely riveting. My question. I'm curious, are there any cons? I know we'll submit the corrective action plan. Will become in compliance again. Are there any possible ramifications we should know about of being out of compliance for the prior school year? Sure. Any funding implications, perhaps even?
If good question, and it's kind of two-pronged. One is, of course, a public perception challenge that I think we always have to admit anytime we report no, and that's why we're trying to be as transparent as possible that this is related to a written plan situation as opposed to we're not missing any of the actual educational components. So that's the first prong that I'm always very sensitive to, and I think a lot of our staff is. The second piece to that is if we didn't come into compliance after the second full year, the Oregon Department of Education starts to have more consequences that could be applied there. We have not experienced that before. And for the most part, over the last 10 years, I've really watched the Oregon Department of Education. They want to help districts get into compliance. But yes, general fund funding from the state of Oregon could be held if we failed to get into compliance or any district did. Good question.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you. All right, it is now 7:36 and this public meeting of the North Clackamas School District